Guys, in this current day of age, when it comes to college football, we really do need to instill some legitimate rules in place when it comes to name, image, likeness, when it comes to the transfer portal. And I've got 5 or 6 different rules I would create if I was the NCAA to police this crap and try and make it even as a playing field as you possibly can. Now, you take a look at the NLI. I wrote all this, by the way, guys. It's just some quick rules I would instill. The first thing I would do, create an independent NLI authority board, and I would call it the authority board because I want boosters to feel threatened to police boosters within recruiting. So when it comes to NLI, the main thing I want to have happen, NLI is something you get after you're a college football player, not before. Right now, with the boosters running rampant, offering these kids deals just to come to the schools, we've heard it at Texas A&M, at Tennessee. The key for me would be eliminate boosters altogether. And the NLI deals, you have to recalibrate in the kids' heads. The NLI deals come when you get on campus. You don't get an NLI deal, you don't get money because you commit to a certain school like a Tennessee, like a Texas A&M. We've already had the 2022 recruiting class ruined by NLI. We don't want to have it happen again. That's why I want these rules in effect as quickly as possible, and we need to create an independent board. They're talking about creating a board to police NLI within all the conferences. You're just going to have major corruption if you do that. This board needs to be completely independent. Call it the authority board. You got to come out strong. That's the first thing I would do. Create a totally independent board that would police NLI, that is completely independent of any conference affiliation. That's the first thing I would do. Number 2, you must show strength right away. The board needs to bowl ban Texas A&M 5 years for NLI booster cheating. And I know Texas A&M is going to say other programs were doing it, but we need to make an example out of one program. And we know with the 2022 recruiting class how blatantly bad Texas A&M abused the NLI laws, or lack thereof, because no one is threatened by the NCAA. No one's threatened the NCAA is going to do anything. They completely make all of these deals. They sign the best defensive line class in history, the best recruiting class in history. You need to make, they are like the poster boy of NLI, right? Like Texas A&M is. Now there's other programs doing it, like Florida, Tennessee, and then when it comes to the transfer portal, pretty much everyone is offering kids money. But when it comes to recruiting, you need to show strength and go after the figurehead and the poster boy of the NLI era, which is Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. And as for any other program that's using the NLI, like Tennessee, I think you just got to let them slide. You just got to let them slide. You got to say, listen, if you keep doing this, if you're going to use boosters illegally to contact players and to, get players to commit to your school through the use of money and NLI deals, you will get bowl banned. That's why you need to come out immediately and say, boosters, we're not playing. If you want to recruit for your school, because the thing is, these boosters think they're doing something good for their school by giving kids like 5-star athletes money, and they're like, ooh, I'm going to turn around my program because I have the funds to do it. I'm a multimillionaire. I can give a 5-star receiver $3 million in an NLI deal just to come to Tennessee. And that's the issue we're coming into. So you got to show strength right away. Come out and say, we know Texas A&M is the poster boy of NLI blatant booster cheating. We are going to bowl ban you 5 years. We're not playing around. If anyone wants to try us, it's not going to happen. You got to have these boosters scared. Right now, they're not scared by the NCAA. Get them scared. That's what I would do there. Number 3, boosters are not allowed to contact recruits at all. So I am banning boosters. I want to basically take boosters out of recruiting. Now, you can put a law like this in place and there's still going to be tampering, but that's why the second law or the second rule is so important. You got to show a sign of strength and bull ban Texas A&M so these boosters get scared. If you don't do anything to any program, the boosters aren't going to get scared. They're going to continue tampering with recruits. They're going to continue offering recruits money under the table, and at that point, you would have to do independent investigations on programs. You want the boosters to be so afraid that they're not going to risk talking or offering recruits money because they're afraid their team's going to get bull banned or maybe a scholarship reduction or something like that. So number 3, take boosters out of college football. It is horrible for the integrity of the sport, and it's horrible for the competitive balance of the sport because some schools, boosters are going to have a lot more money. They're going to want to play a lot more dirty, and the kids are going to choose schools not based off of who they have the best relationship with or who's going to develop them the best for their future. It's just going to be based off the fact of who has the most money. Remember, these are 16, 17-year-old kids making this decision. They are not very mature. I was completely immature at 16 or 17. I'm still extremely immature. These are young kids making the decision, and they see a shiny new car at Tennessee, and they don't see it being offered at Clemson. They're going to go to Tennessee, even if Clemson has the better track record for producing more higher NFL draft picks. You get what I'm saying? So it actually hurts the kids. The NLI era actually hurts the kids in some ways. Now, sometimes the kid's just talented enough. The coaching doesn't matter. That certainly can be the case. I understand it. But in general, you want to go to this place. You're a 16, you're a 17-year-old kid. You want to go to the place where you're going to get developed the best. So that is number 3. Number 4, discussing any NLI deals with a high school recruit is prohibited. You're not allowed to do it. That's self-explanatory. And we know the boosters may try and, not follow those laws. That's where the whole tampering thing comes into play. That's where independent investigations come into play. And that's where the idea is you have to scare these boosters by bull banning Texas A&M 5 years. Bull ban them. It'll scare the boosters. They won't want to risk tampering with recruits because if they get caught, their program will face strict punishments just like Texas A&M. And then number 5, any NLI tampering will result in bull ban scholarship reduction. So that's just getting it on paper. If there is any tampering between, some sort of booster and a recruit, and a high school recruit, there's going to be strict consequences for it. We're not playing around. And then I said at the bottom, this is what I want to stress. We want NLI to become an on-campus amenity. The goal is for the kids to choose a school based off of many factors, not only NLI factors. So I have no problem if Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, if they get a 5-star recruit on campus and they say, look at the money that Bryce Young has made through NLI deals. Look at the money CJ Stroud has made. That's a recruiting tactic. But you can't get a recruit on your campus and say, listen, if you come here, we will give you X amount of dollars. You cannot do that. You have to let the kids choose the school that's best for them, not the school that's going to offer you the most immediate cash, because these are very young kids and they're not making rational decisions. They're immature. So like I said, we want NLI needs to be an on-campus amenity. When you get onto the campus of Ohio State in Columbus, when you get onto the campus of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, you use at that point, only at that point, you use your name, image, likeness to benefit you, and you can profit off of yourself. That's how I would do the whole NLI thing. That is 5 different things I would do when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to the transfer portal, we've got a few different things. Number 1, create 2 transfer windows, each 2 weeks long. So this has already been discussed. This is not my idea. They're actually probably going to do this. It's very good in terms of head coaches knowing their roster. If you just have 2 windows, and then number 2, players are only allowed to enter the portal during these 2 windows. Once again, that helps with coaches. You got to know who's going to be on your roster. Set up 2 windows, and it would actually be a big event for fans. Like, oh, the transfer portal window's coming up. who's going to enter it. It's just like the MLB trade deadline or NFL free agency in March. You get to follow it. There's going to be a lot of action. If you create two-week windows, and only within those 2-week windows, the kids are allowed to enter the transfer portal, it's going to help the coaches a lot. It's going to clean up the portal a lot less messy. They've already discussed this, guys. I'm not saying anything new or anything like that. I'm just saying I agree with this 100%. Number 3, make NCAA student athletes employees. So a lot of, this has been something that's getting talked about a lot. It is kind of a scummy thing to think about these, 16, 17-year-old kids employees of Ohio State University, Alabama University. But in theory, this will solve a lot of issues, and that goes to number 4. This will enable all NLI deals to be made mandatory public record, which will prevent tampering and promote transparency. I would love for all NLI record deals to be forced to be made public. And this is nothing against the kids. I don't care if the kids get NLI deals worth $20 million. I'm not saying, I want to know how much money they're making. I'm saying let's make the college football players employees so we can then make them go public with all of their NLI deals, which will promote transparency. And if you don't go public or you do a deal under the table, you will be severely punished for it. That goes to the whole thing where I'm trying to remove the boosters from the sport of college football. So I think this would be a very good thing. And then it also says any NLI deal that isn't public record is illegal. I already touched on that. And then number 5, I don't think it's possible to fully solve a Jordan Addison type situation. Maybe allow Pittsburgh the chance to match any offer he receives. So this is another transfer portal thing this is the tough one. And Pittsburgh technically does have the ability, he's entered the transfer portal, but he can go back to Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh does have the ability to match any offer, I guess, technically Jordan Addison receives. The issue, of course, they're a smaller school. They're not going to have as many boosters. They're not going to have as much funds. They're not going to be able to give Jordan Addison the type of money an Alabama will be able to. A USC will be able to. We've seen the offer, possibly, a rumored offer from USC of $3 million and a beachfront home for Jordan Addison. So this Jordan Addison situation is so tough. Number 6, offer players incentives if they stay with their school to prevent bigger programs from buying players through the portal, which is exactly what's going on. And I'm guessing the NCAA would have to offer Jordan Addison some form of financial incentive. Again, guys, I don't know how realistic that is. I'm just trying to think out loud how we don't want these Jordan Addison situations to happen very often, because it feels like Pittsburgh is being a feeder program to a bigger program like USC. They did all the recruiting. They got Jordan Addison. He was a lower 4-star receiver. They developed him, and it's not like Pittsburgh has no quarterback this year. I guess you could make the case, Kenny Pickett's leaving. They've got some lowly 3-star. No, they've got a 4-star transfer coming in from USC, Slovis from the transfer portal, who's an NFL prospect himself. Now, he's not Caleb Williams. We understand that, but still, he's a decent prospect. So this situation is it's so tough to solve. And maybe the NCAA can offer Jordan Addison some sort of financial incentive if he stays at Pittsburgh. But again, I don't even know how you would go about doing that. Once again, I'm just thinking out loud, trying to solve this situation. It seems really tough. If you are a superstar player at kind of a lower school, in this day and age with the transfer portal where you don't have to sit out with the name, image, likeness deals, why wouldn't you just enter the portal to see what your worth is? To see if you could get paid more somewhere else? To go get more eyeballs on you if you go to a bigger school? Why wouldn't you do that? And then the smaller schools feel helpless, and it would completely kill any sort of parity. We really don't have parity anyways, although it was nice to see a school like Pittsburgh make a New Year's Six Bowl last year. It would completely kill any sort of parity that we might be trying to achieve in college football if you've got all the younger superstar players at the small schools being able to enter the transfer portal, and basically the smaller schools become feeder programs to an Ohio State, to an Alabama, to where those schools say, all right, we'll give you more money, come play for us your junior year and then go to the NFL. That's the problem with the Jordan Addison situation. When it comes to realignment, please keep Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12. It's better for the overall health and competitive balance of the sport. So this is not going to happen, but I just think Texas and Oklahoma, I know why they did it. It's for money. It's for TV deals, but it is horrible for college football. It makes the SEC even more unbalanced. There is nothing good about it. I understand it was for money. That doesn't, it's just horrible. And then when it comes to the playoffs, this has been my proposal for a while now. So 12-team playoff, the first 4 seeds get byes. The auto bids, you would have every Power 5 champ automatically get in, plus 1 group of 5 team that automatically gets in every year, whatever the best group of 5 team is, and then you would have 6 free open spots. This model still incentivizes the importance of getting one of the first 4 seeds because you get a bye in the first round. Playoff expansion is inevitable due to conference realignment unbalance. Basically, what that means is the SEC is going to be so much more talented than every other conference. You could have a 3-loss SEC team arguing they should make a 4-team playoff over a 1-loss Big Ten team because they play a way tougher schedule, or a 1-loss Pac-12 team. The imbalance is going to be so great once Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC. It will not, a 4-team playoff will not be possible. You will have to expand the playoffs to allow the SEC teams, more SEC teams in, due to the unbalanced schedule. They're going to have so much more tougher schedules because Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC. And you can see the first 4 teams get byes. It would be 5v12, 6v11, 7v10, and 8v9 in round 1. Those would be on-campus games, and then round 2 would also be on-campus games as well. The first 4 seeds who got byes in round 1 would host the round 2 on campus. So that's what I would do when it comes to the playoffs. I think they're setting it up right now for the 12-team playoff to come into effect in 2025, the first year Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC. That's just my speculation on that. And on the playoffs, when they expand it, I think they will certainly expand it by 2025 because there will be so much conference unbalance. They're going to be forced to. But overall, guys, that's just my overall take on the NLI, the transfer portal. Really, we're trying to limit the boosters. We really are. That we want the boosters out of the sport, and we want kids to understand NLI is an on-campus amenity. You can profit off your name, image, and likeness when it comes to recruiting when you get on the college campuses. This whole idea to where any sort of booster can give you any money just to come to your school, it not only hurts the overall competitive balance of the sport, it's not only scummy, but these kids have to realize it's hurting their futures because the kids are making decisions based off of current profit rather than future potential profit. Say like you're a 5-star receiver. It is very interesting. There's a 5-star receiver right now who is considering going to Tennessee over Ohio State. Why would you be considering that if there was no name, image, likeness? This kid would already have been committed to Ohio State, but because Tennessee is offering him 7 figures just to come to their school, he could go there, get poorly developed. You go to Ohio State, they produced 2 first-round picks this year. They're going to at least produce 1 next year with Jackson Smith and Jigba. You've also got Marvin Harrison Jr. You've also got Julian Fleming. You've got Emeka Ibuka. They have a stable of receivers. It's just like there's no way, unless NLI was involved, you would choose Tennessee if you're a receiver over Ohio State, if you're a 5-star receiver. Nothing against Tennessee. I completely get why they're doing it. They're desperate. They're trying to turn their program around. But the kids also have to understand, I don't want to take money out of these kids' profit. I'm trying to help them. I'm saying, I agree, you should be able to make money off of yourself when you get to the campus. When you get to the campus, you can make the money. That's all I'm saying on that. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.